Okay, this is a test of my first process on some images I took last week. So it might be a lengthy recording, but we'll see how we go. I'll try and talk my way through my process, and we'll see how long it takes and if I need to speed anything up. So I'm going to open my image, which is already been processed with WBPP, and it's in my folder, and it's this master image you can see here. It's also been drizzled and auto cropped. So if I double click that to open, first image here is just where it's cropped it. You can see the outline there. We don't really need that. So I've got my icons that I use primarily in most of my one-shot color um, processing. And usually what I'll do, first thing I'll do is I'll start off with the screen stretch. I'll turn off the linked because otherwise I'll have a green hue on my image. But this is basically straight out of WBPP, and you can see that there's quite a cast there and a gradient that I'm going to need to get rid of. Um, I'll either use dynamic background extraction or the automatic background extractor. I know there's other tools, but I find that sometimes the automatic background extractor does a pretty good job. So I kind of go between the two, and just depending on the image, really. So I'm just going to change the correction to subtraction, and I'm going to run it on here and see how that looks. So let's get rid of this. So this is our original image. I usually like to have a look at what it's actually removed. So if I hit the nuclear button, you can see that that's what it's taken out, and yeah, it looks pretty good compared to what we've got up over here. So I'll get rid of that and give this a stretch. And yeah, I think that if you compare these two images, it's done a pretty good job. Um, yeah, I think I could work with that. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we'll start working with this new image now. What I usually do is I'll work through this process, probably get down to the noise exterminator stage, and then I'll save this file just in case I want to ever go back and do some other work on it. Um, okay, so the next step really is SPCC, so spectro color calibration, and let's just pause it here. Okay, so spectrophotometric color calibration was a mouthful. Um, so all I'm going to do here is basically I've got these set to my sensor. I'd use the CWO 533 MC Pro camera, so that's what I'm going to use here for the filters. I'll just use the standard one-shot color. So let's give this a whirl, and we'll see how the colors match up. It's usually really good. So check this out when we get the graphs, and that looks pretty good. You can see that the graphs line up. These stars are very nice and tight to the line there, which indicates that you've got a pretty good match for the color. So happy with that. You can see that that's actually really changed the image quite a bit. If I undo and redo, that color's much more like it should be. Basically using the Gaia catalog to match the colors. So next step would be, as you can see, the stars what I usually do is they don't look too bad actually. This is a really good camera. But what I'll do is run Blur Exterminator and just run it on the correct only, and you'll just see a bit of an improvement in the stars there. So just click that. Okay, that's done. And let's just see what difference it's made before and after. So just tighten those stars up a little bit. Before, after, before, after. So that's worthwhile doing. Okay, now I think what we'll do is get rid of some of this noise. So Noise Exterminator by Russell Crowe is a very good product. And what I usually do is I'll leave it, and sometimes I'll pull that down a bit less, but let's try the default, see how we go. Okay, now that's done, and look at that, what a difference that's made. So there's before and after. Very happy with that. Okay, so at this stage, I am going to save this image, and so I can come back to it if I need to later on before I actually go and run Star Exterminator, which will separate the stars out from the galaxy. So I'm going to save this now, and I'll save it as an XIF file because it still saves the history of what's been done. And I'll just keep the name as default so as I know that's what it is. Save it as a 16-bit file. Go OK. And that's done. So that's the first part of my process anyway.